Hello and welcome to Glady's Cake Kitchen. In this video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to show you how to fix one of the most common cake problems, taking this broken edgeless cake from what it is now to a finely ganached cake with sharp edges. And if you watch through to the end of this video, you will be handed some foolproof tips on how to fix some of your most common cake decorating fails, and you'll get to see the final look of this particular cake. To all new and returning watchers and subscribers, thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy this video and learn something new. So without having to waste your time, let's just jump right into it. A quick note though, this cake was booked last minute with less than 24 hours notice to go. In the midst of other overwhelming tasks, I accidentally overbaked the cake with no time to rebake and troubleshoot the other cake related problems I was already experiencing. The main and most difficult issue with this particular cake was the broken edges, which I will be showing you in this video, and of course how to fix it. With the cake slightly dry from overbaking, I added simple syrup to each layer to increase moisture and proceeded to fill and stack the cake. Normally, I would level, fill and stack and allow to chill set in a fridge or freezer for up to 30 minutes before I attempt to trim. This process is also made much easier when the freshly baked cakes are wrapped and frozen up to 24 hours. This helps to keep the cakes moist, and the moisture from defrosting the cakes helps to soften the crust, making it much easier to trim. With no time to spare due to the last-minute nature of this cake, I skipped over some of the rather important steps required to complete this cake. This meant I encountered some difficulty when it came to trimming the crust of the cake. Starting from the bottom, I began to trim the cake, which went well, but when it came to the top, the crust was tough. I literally had to saw through the cake crust. This led to the cake nearly falling apart as I hadn't allowed it to chill properly. I even attempted to trim the cake using the upside down method, but that did not work, so I gave up and set the cake to chill before coming back to trim. Now, on the subject of cake fails, what is your worst cake fail? Congratulations if you haven't had one yet, but I do promise it is likely to happen sooner than you think. So hopefully this video should empower you with some tips to help you face your cake challenging days confidently when you do experience such problems. Back to cake. As my cake was slightly overbaked and dry, any attempt to get a clean trim led to the cake crumbling and causing the edges to fall apart. To avoid overbaking, a good tip is to pay attention to the recipe and bake time, and whenever possible, allow time for all necessary steps to be completed appropriately. This will save you a lot of stress, and this is equally a note to self. To fix the broken edges, I broke some cupcakes of the same flavor as the cake and made a fine crumb. I then mixed in some ganache aiming for the same consistency as I would for cake pops. With that, I filled the broken edges to mold the shape of the edge of the cake. I allowed this to set in the fridge for a few minutes and returned to apply a layer of a partly completed crumb coat and let that set before applying the next layer of a full crumb coat. Notice that the consistency of the ganache for this crumb coat is easily spreadable, whilst the consistency for the partly done crumb coat was firmer. This is because I needed the firmer consistency to help set the edges of the cake I was trying to form. Now, if you find any value in this video, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos, and please do like and subscribe. And as asked earlier, what is your worst cake fail? Do leave a comment in the comment section and I'll be sure to read that out in my next video. Back to the subject of cakes again, I applied some layers of ganache and scraped any excess. I repeated this process until I had a plain, clean finish to the cake. For the final layer of this cake, I applied my colored ganache, as this cake is to be finished in yellow and blue marble color. But even for my colored cakes, I always ganache my cakes plain before adding the final colored layer. This stops me from having to color more ganache than I need to and stops the excessive use of food coloring. With a cake scraper, I cleaned the sides of the cake and leave to set, and return to trim the top lip of the cake with a sharp knife. A good tip is to always keep the blade of the knife warm when trimming. With a warm cake scraper, I go back in to clean the top of the cake to leave a crisp, clean edge, and that's such a great achievement from the broken edges we started with. This cake was completed with a drip effect and decorated with some piped details, edible prints, Ferrero Rochers, and a custom-made topper. With my troubles all behind me, the customer was very pleased with the cake and left a great review. The lesson learned from this experience is never to take on a cake on short notice, and you shouldn't too. For more fixes videos like this one, check my how to fix broken Swiss meringue buttercream video up here. And for more foolproof recipes with simple techniques to follow, check the following video linked in the description box below. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.